Lovely little explorers, and welcome to your I think it's the third lesson on geography. I'm losing count now, but welcome to today's geography lesson. And in this lesson, we are going to be learning about the 7 natural wonders of the world. The things that you're about to see are going to be amazing natural physical features of the world that already existed, so nobody's created. They're very, very interesting. So without further ado, let me share my screen so that you can see these wondrous creations. Right, let's have a look. So, we are going to recognize and describe the 7 wonders of the natural world. By the end of this lesson, we will name the 7 wonders of the natural world, know key facts about the 7 wonders, and compare the 7 wonders of the natural world. So, really quickly, before we start, we're just going to recap last week's learning. What is the highest mountain range in Europe called? Is it A, the Rhine, B, the Alps, or C, the Black Forest? Pause the video so that you can work that out. It is A, the Alps is the highest mountain range in Europe. Question number 2, which of the following countries does the Alps pass through? A, Switzerland, B, England, or C, Russia? You may want to get your work from last week or have a look on Seesaw to see if you can remember the answer. Pause the video so that you can work that out. The answer is A, it passes through Switzerland, the Swiss Alps. Question number 3, what is the name of the highest peak in the Alps? Is it A, Mount Blanc? Is it B, Mount Noir? Or C, Mount Bank? Pause the video so that you can work that out. The answer was A, Mount Blanc is the highest peak of the Alps. Question number 4, which river starts in Germany's Black Forest? Which river starts in Germany's Black Forest? Is it A, the Danube, B, the Danube, or C, the Danube? Pause the video so that you can work that out. The answer was C, the Danube. And last question, question number 5, which river starts in the Swiss Alps? Was it A, the Rhine, B, the Wine, or C, the Shine? Lots and lots of rhyming words. Pause the video so that you can work the answer out for that question. It was A, the Rhine. Fantastic. Hopefully you got those questions correct. So I'm just going to introduce our key vocabulary and you are going to repeat it after me. Canyon. Canyon. A canyon is a deep valley, and you can see this is a very, very big canyon. It's a deep valley, the valley of the ditches in the canyon. So this whole thing is a canyon. Harbour. Harbour. A harbour is a place on the coast, so next to the sea. Reef. Reef. A reef is simply a place underwater that has lots of jagged rocks or coral. Geological. Geological. Geological refers to the study of the Earth's structure, and that's what we are going to be doing today. We are going to be studying the Earth's structure and lots of different features. Before we begin our lesson, activity 1 is going to be for you to locate the 7 wonders on a map. It might be more useful for you, rather than wait till I've discussed the 7 natural wonders of the world, it might be useful for you to print off this task sheet first. If you don't have a printer, then you can just write down where the 7 natural wonders would be located. If you do have a printer, you can print off this task sheet, and as I'm going through the video, so as I'm going through and introducing the 7 wonders, you might want to locate them as we go along, and that might make it a lot easier because you will have a second task at the end of this video. Okay, so our first natural wonder is Mount Everest. And for this, we are going to travel to Asia, and we are going to go to Nepal and China. Okay, well, Chinese own Tibet. So we are going to go to Nepal. Now, Mount Everest is renowned as the highest spot on Earth. It stands at 8,848 meters above sea level. That means some of Mount Everest is actually below sea level. It is parked right on the border between Nepal and Chinese owned Tibet and is protected by Sagarmatha National Park in the Himalayas. Although Mount Everest is the highest spot on Earth, it's not actually the tallest mountain. And the reason why is because the tallest mountain is called Mount McKinley in Alaska. And that's the tallest mountain when measured above sea level. The tallest mountain in the world whose base is mostly underwater is Mauna Kea volcano in Hawaii, which extends 4.2 kilometers into the air and around 6 kilometers into the sea. That is so tall, but it won't look as tall because a lot of it is under seawater. But Mount Everest is the highest spot on Earth. So that is our first wonder. If you do have the sheet, if you want to trace it, which might take you a long time, so you might not find that all too useful, but you can do. Otherwise, if you haven't got a sheet and the print off the sheet, just write down where you can find Mount Everest. So write down Mount Everest and the country that it's in, or the countries, the regions that it's in. You can pause the video now so that you can do that. Moving on to our next wonder. Let me make this a bit bigger so you can all see it, because I would love for you to read along with me. Our next wonder is called the Great Barrier Reef. I'm sure many of you have heard of this wonder because it's beautiful. David Attenborough has featured the Great Barrier Reef in lots of his documentaries, such as The Blue Planet, which if you do have time, I would go and give that a watch. It is a fantastic documentary all about different things to do with the sea and oceans, and also about the Great Barrier Reef. So if you were to visit the Great Barrier Reef, you would find Nemo, lots of clownfishes. The Great Barrier Reef is located in Australia. So on my globe, I would need to travel to Australasia or blah, 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 blah. I can't speak. I would need to travel to Australasia or Oceania, that continent, and then I would need to go to Australia. Okay, the Great Barrier Reef is not just one big, long connected reef. It's made up of more than 2,900 individual reefs. And if you look carefully in the picture, you can see lots and lots of different reefs. And these are constructed by billions of minuscule coral polyps, I'm not sure how you say that word, which are living organisms. The Great Barrier Reef stretches so far, it is huge, and you can actually see it from space, which is how this picture has been taken. It stretches over 2,600 kilometers and includes more than 900 islands. Now, I've got an interesting fact about the Great Barrier Reef, which is actually quite sad. The Great Barrier Reef, lots of it is dying off, and the coral inside the Great Barrier Reef is being bleached. And this is caused by rising sea temperatures, which is due to global warming. So because we're not doing enough to look after the Earth that we live in, lots of coral in the Great Barrier Reef are becoming bleached by the sun, and they're dying. Now, you might not think that this is important, but it is, because so many animals are dependent on the Great Barrier Reef and the coral there for food and for shelter. So if the coral dies off, then it means lots of sea animals will also die, which is very, very sad. So we've got to make sure that we're doing our part to look after the environment around us. Okay, moving on. The next wonder is called Aurora Borealis, and this is also known as the Northern Lights. It is beautiful. It's actually a phenomenon. So these naturally occurring lights intrigue everybody who sees them, as they appear as glowing lines of vivid colors. You can see it's so colorful. You can see green, blue, pink, slightly neon yellow over there. And this is natural. This is a natural feature of the Earth. Nobody is causing this. Nobody is creating this. It just naturally occurs. And they flash all across the sky. Humans have created lots of legends about the Northern Lights and about it being in the heavens since the days of ancient Greece, Norse mythology, and medieval England. The science as we understand it today is that the Northern Lights are caused by cosmic particles appearing as different colors and different colored lights as they enter the Earth's atmosphere. So that's the gases that surround the Earth. Okay, so it's charged cosmic particles full of energy, and this energy appears as different lights. If you wanted to go and visit the Northern Lights, there are lots of different places that you can go to see them. You can even see them in Canada, but if you wanted to see them and travel much closer, you can travel to Europe. So we need to go to the continent Europe to find the Northern Lights. And once you're in Europe, you would need to go all the way to Iceland. You could go to Norway, and you could also go to Sweden. Those are the best places to find them. You can also find it in Finland, but they say the best places to find it is Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Alaska, or Canada. Okay, so if you have your map, then make sure you do a dot and write Northern Lights or Aurora Borealis on the map. If you don't, then you can just write down where you would find the Northern Lights. Moving on to our next wonder, we have the Victoria Falls. Now, the Victoria Falls is a massive waterfall. As the Zambezi River crosses the border of Zambia and Zimbabwe, it plunges 108 meters down into a stunning waterfall. So you can see how long this waterfall is and also how tall it is. Okay, it's very, very tall. And it's 1.7 kilometers wide, which is a very, very long way to travel to walk from one side of the waterfall to the other. The falls are also nicknamed Smoke That Thunders by the local people that live in Zimbabwe. National parks in Zambia and Zimbabwe protect this landmark. So if you wanted to go and visit it, you would have to be taken on a tour by a special guide to see it. There is a special place in Victoria Falls where you can actually swim up to the edge of the waterfall without falling over, and lots of people do this. Maybe I can show you a picture later on. So if you have a map, make sure you locate Victoria Falls on your map, otherwise write down where you would be able to find it. Our next wonder is the Grand Canyon. Remember, canyon was one of our keywords and it means a very deep valley. At 277 miles long and reaching a depth of over 6,000 feet, it's hard to really gauge the scale of the Grand Canyon's incredible rock formation. So it's really hard to actually scale how deep it travels and how big the whole thing is. Now, you may be wondering, how was the Grand Canyon formed? Well, once upon a time, the Colorado River ran through this canyon, and over time, it started to erode the rock beneath the river. Okay, so the water from the river started to erode the rocks that were beneath it. And eventually, over time, it carved out the Grand Canyon. Now, this took a period of over 2 billion years to do, which is a very, very long time to create such a massive physical feature that we now know of and can see today. If you wanted to visit the Grand Canyon, you can again visit it in lots of places, but you would have to go to the state Arizona. Arizona is where the Grand Canyon can be located. And that's in the USA. So you'd have to travel to North America and go to Arizona. Our next wonder is Paracutin, Mexico, and it's a volcano. Now, this volcano usually is what confuses people when they think of the 7 wonders or the 7 natural wonders, because not many people can actually remember it. What makes this volcano so special and spectacular is that when it erupted in 1943, that eruption lasted 9 whole years. How crazy is that? Imagine a volcano erupting continuously for 9 years. Well, that's what happened in Mexico, and it lasted from 1943 all the way to 1952. But the actual sudden formation of the volcano from the cornfields allowed scientists to document and observe the creation of the volcano. So the volcano suddenly emerged, and that's what makes it so wondrous, because humans that are alive today were able to see that volcano being formed and erupt for 9 whole years. And it's called a cinder cone volcano because that's the shape that it is in. If you wanted to see this volcano, you'd have to travel all the way to South America. So we've been to North America for the Grand Canyon. Now you'd have to go to South America for the volcano, and you'd have to travel to Mexico to see it. Make sure you get that written down on your map. Otherwise, you can write it down on a sheet of paper. You can pause the video now so that you can do that. Moving on to our last wonder. This is the harbor of Rio de Janeiro. This is located in Brazil. Now, a harbor, as you remember, is an area near the coast. In particular, we're talking about these granite mountains that are also next to the harbor. So the harbor of Rio de Janeiro is located in Brazil, in particular Rio de Janeiro. That's the city that you'd have to travel to. And it's surrounded by unique granite mountains. So I'm just going to highlight them here. So you can see lots of these granite mountains surround the coast. which is very interesting to see. And again, just like the Grand Canyon, these mountains were formed by erosion from a water source, and the source was the Atlantic Ocean. The Atlantic Ocean eroded rocks over time and caused these mountains. It is also known as Guanabara Bay, and it's the source of a famous image. This is probably the most famous image in Brazil, of a white stone statue called Christ the Redeemer, and that's this image here. I'm sure many of you have seen this. It's a very famous landmark in Brazil. And that's at the top of Corcovado Mountain, which faces the sea with its arms outstretched. Harbour of Rio de Janeiro is the largest bay in the world based on the volume of water. So it's the largest bay because so much water surrounds it, which gives the illusion that it's a lot bigger than what it actually is. So make sure you locate that on your map. Pause the video now so that you can do that. Fantastic. By now you should have located or named and located the natural 7 wonders of the world. If you want to check your answers, you can do so here. Here are the answers to where the natural 7 wonders of the world would be. You can pause this video now so that you can check your answers, and then I'm going to explain your next task. Fantastic. Moving on, what you're going to do now is you're going to complete this sheet. And on this sheet, you have an image of one of the wonders. You need to name it. You need to tell me what it is and one interesting fact that you know about it. What I'm going to do so that you have some information and interesting facts, I'm going to show you a video. I'm also going to show you some task sheets, some information sheets, so that you can read those yourself and pull out some interesting facts. You only need one interesting fact about one of the 7 wonders that we're talking about. Okay, so I'm just going to show you this video very quickly, which is going to give you some more facts, and I'm going to model how you should complete the sheet. So let me just open the link, and then I'm going to share my screen so that you can see it. Okay, and let's reshare so that you can see that. Hello, everybody. Let's reshare that so that you can see what I'm seeing. Okay.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Fast Facts. You may be familiar with the 7 wonders of the world, which are stunning creations made by people. But did you know there are 7 natural wonders of the world? These wonders are created by the greatest architect of them all, Mother Nature. Now these aren't in any particular order because they are all magnificent in their own way, and it would be difficult to rank them. Now with that said, let's get started. First up, we have the jaw-dropping Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon is located in the United States, in the state of Arizona. It is 277 miles long, over a mile deep, and 18 miles wide. It is definitely a popular tourist attraction. The canyon was formed by the continuous and unstoppable force of the Colorado River. Some scientists estimate it forged this path more than 5 to 6 million years ago. Next, we have the harbor of Rio de Janeiro, also known as Guanabara Bay in Brazil. It is
Feel free to stop the video, pause the video so that you can actually receive the facts and absorb them and take them in. What I will also do is I will also link this video on the home learning sheet so that if you want to watch it and you can pause it, you can also do that too.
It is the largest natural deep water bay in the world based on the volume of water. The shape and surrounding granite mountains were formed by erosion of the Atlantic Ocean. If you plan to visit, the best viewing spot to overlook the bay is from Sugarloaf Mountain. Next natural wonder of the world is the Great Barrier Reef, which is the largest coral reef system on Earth. It is located in the Coral Sea off the coast of Queensland, Australia. The structure of the reef is made and built by billions of organisms called coral polyps. It consists of over 2,900 individual reefs, 900 islands, and stretches over 1,600 feet. Did you know that the Great Barrier Reef can be seen from space? Pretty neat, huh? This next wonder is Mount Everest, which is located on the international border of Nepal and China. This mountain makes the list because it is the highest mountain above sea level. The elevation is a little over 29,000 feet, and temperatures can drop as low as -76 degrees Fahrenheit. What's interesting is about 95% of experienced climbers will use bottled oxygen on the mountain. This is due to the high risk of cerebral hypoxia, which means the brain lacks accurate oxygen.
Next up, we have Paracontin volcano, which is located near the city of Uruapan in Mexico. This particular volcano makes the list because it is the only volcano whose birth was witnessed and recorded by humans. It continued to erupt for 9 years straight until it completely stopped in 1952. Although the volcano has remained silent, it still emits heat and steam to this day. This next natural wonder is home to the largest waterfall in the world, which is Victoria Falls. It is located in Zimbabwe. The Zambezi River plummets down 355 feet and has an astonishing width of 5,604 feet. Now, how exactly did it form? Well, to put it simply, a geological shift caused the water that originally was flowing south to start flowing east. As the water started to flow, it began to erode the rocks, which led to a series of gorges. Last, but certainly not least, we have an aurora, also known as the Northern Lights. They can be seen from many different locations around the world. For example, Canada, Iceland, and Norway. This breathtaking view has been recorded by many civilizations for decades. To put it simply, the Northern Lights are formed by collisions between electrically charged gas particles from the sun that then enter Earth's atmosphere. The different colors displayed depends on the type of gas particles colliding. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Fast Facts. We will catch.
Fantastic. Okay, we're going to stop sharing that and we're going to go back to our lesson. So now that you have hopefully collected some information, you are going to fill in this sheet. So the first one I can model for you. Let's use red. So what is the name of this? If you're ready to go off on your independent task, then you can do. But before you do, just stay because over here are some fact pages which might make it easy for you. So first thing you need to do is name the wonder. And I know this one is called Mount Everest. Everest, okay. And we're going to stick it there. What is it? I can even just put mountain. This doesn't need to be a long sheet, okay? And then an interesting fact. On the next few pages, I have fact sheets for all different 7 wonders. So I'm going to choose an interesting fact from here. Okay, let's see. It's the highest mountain in the world, and I know it's the highest point in the world. So I'm just going to say it is the highest point in the world. Very simple. Doesn't need to be long because you've already completed the first activity. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you these pages. Pause the video on each one as you're doing the sheet so that you can gain some extra facts, or you can watch the video again. So for these next few slides that you can just showing you so that you can pause it on the screen and get some ideas. Pause the video after each one as you're doing it. Sorry if I name this one, it's Paracutin volcano. Okay, and that is it for our geography lesson. So well done. Don't forget to upload your work onto Seesaw for your teachers to see. Thank you very much. Goodbye.